Hello and welcome to A Greener Life. Today we're talking about fast fashion. Do you know where your clothes come from? Do you know what and whom is involved in the making of your clothes and getting them into your hands? The nature of fast fashion is about producing cheap, poor quality clothing and encouraging constant repeat purchasing.
Fast fashion?
I've never heard the term, so you better explain.
Australia is one of the largest consumers of textiles in the world. The industry is creating a hugely negative environmental impact. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, close to 90% of discarded leather and textiles can be found in landfill. Using polyester and microfibers to produce clothing is impacting on climate change. This, in combination with the mistreatment of textile workers in developing countries, represents the overall influence fast fashion has, socially and environmentally. While many people engage with the process of fast fashion, Robert and Denise, war babies as they call themselves, managed a local op shop for 10 years and still find unmeasurable value in recycling clothes and other goods. Here's how.
Well, we do buy lots of things from op shops. We always have done. We are what's officially known as war babies, but my background particularly was in those days they were jumble sale. Then they became more sophisticated by actually having a shop to sell them from rather than a community hall. So now I just love op shopping and I think it's fabulous. And my clothes do last me a long time because I look after them, I wash them carefully. So they're very cheap and they last a long time and I love them and I really appreciate them.
Darcy Fowkes from San Francisco is a lifelong high-end, slow fashion advocate, upcycler and designer who has been involved with slow fashion for decades. From making clothes to running events and even creating a supportive community for other designers, she now is a fierce and active advocate for the slow fashion movement, working to make others more conscious of their fashion footprint.
Slow fashion really caught my mind as I began to see how incredibly polluting fast fashion is. It's the second biggest polluting industry in the world today over oil. And once you really focus on what a mess fast fashion has made, the damage it creates in its wake, there's sort of no alternative. You have to think about slow fashion and alternatives. There's just no way fast fashion is sustainable.
Taking only what you need and leaving enough for the people ahead. If we constantly just take from our earth now, and when you think of that on a mass-produced scale, that's not sustainable at all because we're constantly just taking from the same sources.
Based in Sydney, Andy is a writer, yoga instructor and model who has a passion for sustainability. From her past experiences, she now prefers to live a minimalist lifestyle and uses her platform to try to influence others, hoping for sustainability to become a trend that can be implemented in society.
They do churn out so much. I mean, I remember reading about Zara a few years ago and they were just annihilating the planet with everything that they were producing.
Human rights side of it too really gets me. I feel like that plays a huge part in why people would go in much more of a sustainable way, because when you start diving into the way that people are treated and the money they get paid, and there's a lot of unsaid politics that goes on behind the scenes that isn't great.
I think fast fashion provides us so much convenience but at a great cost. I think people should be better educated on it. I think in general it provides us with quick, cheap clothing, but at cost of our future quality of life and the quality of life of the people that have to produce it. But I also think that the problem isn't just in the consumer, it's also in who's producing it. I think not only do we have to take responsibility as consumers to learn about it, but I think people also need to give responsibility to the people that are producing it to make sure that what they're producing is sustainable.
Our aim was to increase our profits year by year because we know that it was going to such a good cause.
And did you do that?
Oh, absolutely. It was quite phenomenal, actually. We used to have about 120 volunteers on our book.
At one stage, we were actually able to visit Israel and visit the children's home that we were supporting. So that, of course, makes it more real, you know.
I've sewn since I was 12 years old. And so I just learned to make it myself.
I do prefer to support local businesses.
It was faster to embellish things and take sleeves off and put new sleeves on and, you know, create some unusual and interesting looks without taking a lot of time to do it. For me, slow fashion is faster. It takes me a lot less time to pull a wardrobe together using my slow fashion skills than to pursue shopping the fast fashion marketplace.
Ulrika, a suit hire manager, costume designer and fashion stylist based in the United Kingdom, has a wealth of fashion design knowledge, having worked in the UK, Milan and New York.
Because of like a vintage movement that was kind of in when I was a teenager, and then I started looking at like secondhand shops and what I could remake, and with like me myself looking for a style that would suit me, because when you're a teenager you're really conflicted and you try lots of different things. So I was trying vintage clothes as well, and it was really lovely because I was looking at it as pre-loved clothes, like old with history and stuff. I did my study abroad semester in Milan, and there I saw how many new fabrics, new samples and everything there is created, and I was like, wow, we don't really need more fabrics. We really have enough. Even from the second year, I started making everything sustainably.
Mahlia, who has been brought up with a sustainable mindset and ethical way of living, touches on her disliking of the fast fashion industry and its often violation of basic human rights in the production, payment and working conditions of employees.
I would say start small. Start from those brands that you buy from without thinking twice, and learn where their factories are and what fabrics they use and what goes into making the products that they make. Recycle and reuse and learn how to fix buttons and fix hems on things so you're not throwing things away just because they don't fit perfectly. Learn how to tweak them and hem them and take them in. I feel like that is such a valuable skill to have, and it's something that will make such a huge difference when going to reuse and re-love clothes.
I want to show, promote, and explore the beauty of slow fashion. I want to elevate slow fashion to an art form. I want to elevate it to high fashion. I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be sought after. My most important goal is to show how fashionable slow fashion can be.
The garments we do buy, we end up throwing out within a year, which is crazy, because I feel like if you're going to invest money into something, you should absolutely love it. And if that's the case, then you should be able to hem it and fix it.
I think with our generation, it's only a matter of time before these things become the norm, really.
It doesn't have to be like a massive change, but just like slow steps and evolving into it.
And when things slowly start going back to normal, they'll notice that kind of dissonance between what they enjoyed and the normality they used to know. And I think that'll probably move down into the choices they make, including clothing.
The production of any material has an impact on our environment. We can make adjustments to make positive change. It is time to redefine the way we buy clothes. How? By choosing a more sustainable way of thinking, increasing our knowledge around what fast fashion is, and by changing our consumption habits and the way we shop. We can take one small step at a time. Our clothing producers and companies can decrease their use of microfibers. They can make brand adjustments in their product creation processes, and they can increase their use of recyclable materials and renewable resources. By taking individual actions and holding companies accountable to sustainability, our chances of ethical consumption and production habits are likely to grow. Thank you for listening. This is A Greener Life, and we will catch you next time.